Fun fact, Bhutan is the only country in the world where it's illegal to slaughter an animal.
That's right. You enter the wall from India, then you're inside the wall, and then you get out again on the Bhutanese side, and it's so quiet. It's so quiet. It's such a different. It really is a different world.
The monarchs are really respected. It's probably one of the countries with the highest government approval in that sense, because the people love them.
And in the aviation community, it's really famous for being one of the most dangerous, most challenging ones to fly into as a pilot.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Every Country podcast. My name is Luca.
And my name is Philipp, and we're at the 6th episode already.
Yeah, and today we have an exciting topic coming ahead. We talk about Bhutan today.
Bhutan is an exciting place. Some people say the happiest country on the planet.
For me, it's certainly one of my favorite countries.
For me as well. Yeah, no, it was awesome.
We had such a great time there. And today we want to talk about how we can visit, some of the challenges when it comes to Bhutan, some of the misunderstandings. People always have this idea of Bhutan as like this tucked away place somewhere in the Himalayas. And today we want to shed some light onto the country and talk about our experience there.
Absolutely. So let's start. There are two ways of getting into the country.
There's flying into the country, which by the way is very interesting because...
There's the airport of Paro. I think is it the only airport, the only international at least, I think, in the country. And in the aviation community, it's really famous for being one of the most dangerous and most challenging ones to fly into as a pilot. So you have
Why is that?
The approach goes through like it's in the middle of the mountains, the airport basically, and it's very... You need like a specific license, I think, to fly into the airport because they have no runway lighting. They have, you do like the approach fully visual, so there's no instrument approach, and it's just you somehow maneuvering the airplane through the mountains and then hopefully getting to the runway,
So we did not do that.
No, we did not.
We did the easier version, which I wouldn't even say is easier. Probably flying in
as a passenger. As a passenger, flying in is easier. As a pilot, I think it's a nice challenge though for the pilot. So it's not it's not as dramatic as I just made it sound. It's of course it's just a regular flight, a commercial flight. But no, we did. We took the car. From India.
In fact, we took the buses first of all. To the north because we flew into the north.
That's true.
But basically, if you go by land border, you'll end up at the border city of Phuentsholing. That's the border town of Bhutan, which faces Jaigaon.
Jaigaon, something like
That's
that.
That's the name of the Indian border city. So we reached there by buses. It was quite a long drive, even from the closest airports. It's in the state of West Bengal.
3-5 hours, something like that on a bus, right?
It was quite a long bus
It was really long, and the bus was not too comfortable.
And then basically between the two cities, Jaigaon and Phuentsholing, you have something called the Bhutan Gate, which is the border.
Yeah.
And in a hostel, I think we stayed in a hostel, like a hotel hostel.
It was a hotel. It was a proper hotel.
Yeah. We met another traveler actually.
Right. Yeah, Mark.
Who was also going to Bhutan, and then we messaged our guides, and we turned out to have the same contact people. So actually, we did the tour together.
Yeah, it was funny. Like it was us three, you, me, and Sophia, and then we met Mark. Yeah, and now it was 4. He's a good friend now. so it's funny.
Shout out to Mark.
Yeah. He's one of those people that you just randomly meet somewhere in the world, and then.
He's one of those random kind of people that just go to North Korea and run a marathon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He has a fun story about the North Korean marathon, but maybe on a later episode more. We
should get him on.
Yeah, we should. Mark, come to Dubai.
Anyway, so we met Mark, and then the next day the tour officially started, and we crossed the Bhutan Gate. So Bhutan is one of the more challenging countries because you need a lot of paperwork. You need to pay tourism tax. It's like at some point it used to be $200.
Do you know how much it is right now? I don't even know.
So
it
changed still the same. So they have a construct right now where they basically halve the cost. So it's like $100, but it only goes if you visit a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And then the cost basically halves, and they're very explicit in saying we did not halve the cost. We just have this offer, but it's basically.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, when we went, our tour guide said something like, in the near future they want to extend kind of the program, or I don't know, where it's like, okay, if you stay for 4 days, you get you pay the $200 per night, but then you get to stay another 4 days, something like that, right? Yeah.
So it's basically halving the price, but they don't want to call it that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But yeah, Bhutan is fairly expensive to travel to because you need this tourism tax, and it's also kind of challenging to go into the country alone. In fact, it's not really possible. You basically need a guide.
Yeah, that's true.
It's almost impossible to go to Bhutan and just organize a visa like for any other country. Right. You actually have to go on an organized trip. Exactly. But it's not one of those countries where you cannot move freely. Like in the night we were let out, and that's one thing that people would not imagine when they think of Bhutan. We went to a bar, and there was a nightclub, and there was a nightlife going on.
Exactly.
And
I think it's just so strict because they want to limit the amount of people that come into the country. You know, it's just like one of those places. Is it like the only country that's like carbon positive or something?
Yeah,
I think so.
Negative.
Negative. Yeah, I always confuse that. But it's like I think it's really like a nice. They don't want to limit you in your movement as other countries would like to do. But I think it has like a good intention behind limiting the tourists because they want to preserve.
Bhutan is all about preserving their culture.
Yeah.
It's all about their traditional way of life.
Exactly.
And you feel that throughout the country. You feel everyone is wearing their traditional outfits. You know. Name one other country where they're like truly traditional indigenous clothing is so common like in Bhutan. I wouldn't know a single country.
No, me neither.
And it's crazy. It's very beautiful. It's a very pristine culture, like somewhere tucked away in the Himalayas. But also a lot of people have recently opened up a lot. And Dzongkha being the official language of Bhutan, a lot of people speak English nowadays very fluently. You know, we went to the bar in the evenings and no one had a problem understanding us or talking to us. They all speak English fluently. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So the effect of that is a lot of people, the young people that want to like achieve something or found businesses or something. Bhutan is not the place for that.
Right.
You know, so they leave Bhutan and they go to Australia or they go to the United States. And it's kind of sad to see as well. So many people leaving Bhutan, leaving the country. But then, I mean, I get it. You know, there's not a lot of
that's the downside of trying to preserve the culture, you know, because many young people, I think, they want to, you know, they dream big. They want to see more parts of the world now that it's possible. You know, of course, hundreds of years or let's say a couple of decades ago, it just wasn't possible. You know, so it was easier for the country to kind of say, look, this is us, and everyone be happy here. But now people dream bigger, I would say. You know, so if some random teenager says, I want to study in Australia, then they just leave and probably won't come back because the possibilities are just not really in Bhutan in most of the cases. You know, I don't really know which kind of careers you can pursue in Bhutan, you know, but it's, you know, apart from tour guide.
It's like a two-sided sword. It's like
exactly.
On the one hand, you have this amazing Bhutanese culture. You have the gross domestic happiness, which they don't measure GDP officially. Their primary goal is for the people to be happy, and you notice it. You know, the people are really happy, whether it's the happiest country in the world or not. Leave that aside. Yeah. But it's a very, very happy and genuine country. You know, you go there and you're like, wow, this culture is amazing. You know, we can all learn something from them. But then at the same time, you obviously understand the young people that want to leave and seek the bigger things, seek economic prosperity as well.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. But anyway, we entered through Fuensoling, the border city.
Exactly.
And then we made
which I found really interesting, by the way, because you really felt the difference. There's like a wall. There's the wall that you have to go in to do all the paperwork and stuff, and then you enter the wall from India. Then you're inside the wall, and then you get out again on the Bhutanese side, and it's so quiet. It's so quiet. It's such a different. It really is a different world. You know, on the Indian side, it's really like the stereotypical. Everyone's honking, everyone's screaming. It's super loud. You know, you hear all the generators and everything, and then you go to the other side of the wall, and it's just quiet.
Yeah, you know, I noticed it most when we left Bhutan and we went back through into India.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told my guide in India, I was like, can you take me back to Bhutan? Like, nothing against India. I really like that place as well, you know, but it's loud, it's dirty, it's noisy, you know.
Exactly.
And Bhutan is just pristine. It's clearly, like, you can envision it like, some some person meditating. You know, that's Bhutan in a nutshell, basically.
Absolutely.
And then India is just like, you know, it's crazy.
I just find it so funny because it's such a stereotype of India that it's so loud and bustling, you know, and everything's so chaotic kind of, and it really feels like this. You know, you go back to India and everything's crazy. Okay, but no, let's see. So we entered Bhutan.
So we went Phuentsholing, and then our first stop was Thimphu, which is actually the capital city.
Yeah.
So that's where we could see all the official royal palaces. You know, Bhutan is a monarchy, and it's very interesting because the monarchy has basically been trying to democratize the country, and the people are like, no, we want to keep our monarch. We want to keep our leadership. Like, the monarchs are really respected. It's probably one of the countries with the highest like government approval in that sense, because the people love them. Like, they're absolute heroes in the country.
Exactly.
And we, for example, we met this one guy who carves out wood with his feet, and he, for example, met the king, and he said like, wow, it was the most amazing day of my life. The king came and everything, and it's very sweet to see the people like enjoy their monarchy as well so much, you know. Because actually the monarch of Bhutan, by the way, I think they're the prettiest couple out there. Like, when it comes to international monarchs and like head of states, just Google the king and the queen of Bhutan. Wow, like they should be in the Paris Fashion Week, like on the catwalk. I think they were trying to like maybe at some point introduce elections and democracy, and the people are like,
no, we're happy.
Yeah, we're happy. Like, it's fine. It's very, very interesting.
That's the thing. You know, I feel like monarchy has the potential to be like a lot more efficient and you know, make people happy if it's the right people. You know, generally what we connect to like a dictatorship is negative, because, you know, you only hear about the negative dictators, like, you know, North Korea, for example. But it's not like the system itself is not bad. You know, it's just that the people kind of make it bad, I would say.
Yeah, like if you have a country like Bhutan.
Exactly. You know, you have one person in power. I don't know, maybe it's a few people, but it's not a
you
parliament.
have the royal family in power.
Exactly.
But as long as they really serve the people, which
that's what I'm saying.
Pretty much do in Bhutan. You know, they don't restrict them. That's the thing. All the young people are leaving to Australia. They're not saying no. They say yes, you can go. You know, they don't restrict them, even though it pretty much damages the country a little bit. In some sense, it will benefit the country if people come back and they're having studied abroad and whatever. But generally, I would say all the people leaving Bhutan now is more damaging than for the country.
Yeah, of course. But again, they just want their people to be happy.
Exactly.
It's kind of
their people.
It's funny because we heard that sentence so often during our tour. You know, Bhutan just wants their people to be happy. I think it's really their number one thing. I don't know. Of course, I don't know if that's actually the intention of the monarchs, but I just feel like it is.
Seems to be
it seems to be. Yeah.
It seems to be working. So we were in Thimphu. Fun fact: I did this like Robin Hood shot with my with my arrow and bow. Wow! And then the people came out dancing, and we did like the traditional dance with the Bhutanese people. It was crazy. It was so much fun, honestly. And then in the evening, we actually went out and partied. And I remember there was the one nightclub, Insomnia. That was in Paro, though.
I was going to say, wasn't it in Paro?
So we went from Thimphu to Paro. Overall, the roads are very hilly. Like, our guides warned us, it's going to be shaky, whatever. It wasn't that bad, I don't think.
It wasn't that bad, but I think if you're easy, like if you get motion sick really quickly, I think it can get bad, because it was really like in the mountains, you know. And so it's not like I think on the map the distance between the border and let's just say the cities doesn't seem too far away, but it's really a long drive. I think it was like 3 hours or so to go to Thimphu, right? And then another 1-2 hours or so to Paro. I'm not sure about that. Maybe something like that.
So it was quite a while, but we arrived in Paro in the end, and we went into the city center. So
that's where we slept. So that was where the homestay was. Right. And then we decided to head out again. And we were allowed to. It wasn't
our thing. They were like, well, of course, if you want to leave, get a taxi, basically. We'll organize it for you, whatever. Go wherever. And I remember there was this nightclub, Insomnia. We actually didn't go there, but we went to Park 76. If any one of you is watching and wants to visit Bhutan, go there, please.
Really, it's such. We had
Park
such a great.
76. They even have merchandise. Unfortunately, I didn't buy anything. I don't think they had something in my size anyway. But
But
Park 76.
it was one of the
best
most
bar.
random, amazing nights out I've had on my travels, to be honest.
Literally,
Because it was so random and unexpected.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it wasn't the best night I've ever had, but it's like, because, you know, we're in Bhutan, it's kind of like when we went out drinking in Damascus, Syria. It's, you know, it wasn't a great night, but it was so unexpected in a country like that.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So Bhutan, Park 76
It was
such a
amazing.
fun
Just
place.
being there with Mark, with Sophia, my ex-girlfriend, with
Yeah.
you. And
talking to the
Bhutanese
people, yeah.
all the Bhutanese
And then we
people.
meet like an American guy who was there for like a project.
There was
like,
there was a student group. There was a guy from Switzerland who was like talking with Indian officials as well, because Bhutan produces so much natural energy that they export it to India, but India pays like way below market price. So they were like trying to negotiate a deal and everything. It was very, very fascinating. But what I loved the most was talking to the Bhutanese like locals.
Yes,
and then we went to another bar as well. And there was a Bhutanese band playing, and we met all of them, and it was so great. We got really drunk as well with the beer. It was very, very fascinating. I just didn't expect it in Bhutan.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah.
We were there, and there's nightlife. I'm sure if you would have wanted to like find a partner or something for the night, it would have been possible. You know, it's not that it's a very conservative country in that sense, which really surprised me. It was very out there, very much like drinking, very much like party, loud music, Western music. Not like
you're right.
Bhutanese
Yes,
music, genuinely like Western
I think that's
music.
also when you really feel it's a really like an open country culture-wise, like mind-wise. You know, of course, you have places where you can only hear the music of the local area, the region, you could say. But in Bhutan, even though everyone was dressed in their local outfits and everything, you know, them hearing Western music, it was kind of a mix of cultures.
I feel like
amazing.
it's one of those countries that are really opening up
Yes,
slowly. You know, and I'm not sure whether it's good or bad for Bhutan in the long run. You know, once more people open up, they probably turn their backs towards their own culture. So I guess that's the risk. But it's very impressive to see that everyone speaks English, everyone is out partying. And the next day we actually got up really early. So it was a long night, and actually the owner of the bar drove
I was going to say, wasn't the owner of the bar that drove us
funny.
home or so? Yeah, it was...
Yeah, and it's not like it was like 5 people. It was properly like a night event. And we just stayed out because it was so fun. So we were like the last people basically to leave. And the owner of the bar drove us home. And then we stayed in a homestay. We had some great local Bhutanese breakfast as well. Yeah. Fun fact, Bhutan is the only country in the world where it's illegal to slaughter an animal.
That's right,
But again, they're opening up. So a lot of the meat is imported. So if you're vegetarian, it's heaven, you know. Fun fact, I don't think vegans enjoy it as much because they put butter on everything.
It's true.
Do you remember?
True.
Like
yes.
Yeah. Full of butter.
Right.
Full of butter. They even put butter in their teas.
Oh, the butter tea.
I tried it. It was gross.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry.
No. It's really the only thing where I'm like, no. And no.
No,
it really it's not
tea.
no
butter tea.
No, really it's one of those things, you know, you can't even say, you know, it's just I don't like it, but it's okay. No, I really disliked it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you know, but you know they already know, so no need to hide.
But they have a lot
but
of
it's
other great food. They have like like Tibetan cuisine, you know, like
it was actually the only
cuisine.
thing I didn't like. You know, all the rest was nice. The breakfast was nice. You know, when right before we went back to India. The momos, of course. Yeah, no, everything else we had was amazing. It's just the butter tea that was like like their one big thing, and I didn't like it. No, I'm sorry.
So it's interesting. If you're vegetarian and you want to go to Bhutan, you're gonna have the time of your life. If you're vegan, it's gonna be surprisingly difficult.
Yeah,
it's
which is
probably not gonna work, like because they put butter onto everything, even without you noticing.
Yeah.
So even when they made like the local greens from the garden, the asparagus was like drenched in butter. It was insane. So they love their butter. They even drink it. Literally.
They do.
It was interesting. And then what did we do?
Next day we went hiking.
We went hiking.
Yeah,
to
the tiger's nest.
Taktsang.
Taktsang, yeah.
The Taktsang. The tiger nest, more commonly known as the tiger nest.
Yeah, which is like the one spot everyone thinks of when they think of Bhutan.
It's like a sacred monastery tucked away somewhere in the mountains. You actually have to hike up there for like 1.5 hours, something like this.
Something like I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's not a very difficult hike. I think most people would be comfortable hiking that.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not that difficult.
No, it's not. It's just if you have a Canadian and a Swiss British guy that are used to going hiking and they're pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. So it was quite fast for us.
Yeah, it was.
But it was really fun. It was really fun. And then you end up at the tiger nest, and you have to leave your phones outside. But that's what most people don't know. You can actually go in. Because I always just saw the photos from outside.
That is true.
And I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah, you see this and then you leave, right? No, you can
No,
actually
it's just
go
that you're not allowed
nest.
to take photos inside or take your phone inside.
So
basically.
everyone leaves their phone outside, but almost everyone who hikes up there goes inside. Well.
Exactly. So unfortunately, we don't have any photos. We don't have any proof that we did go inside, but
no one
we
does.
did. Yeah, no one does.
To leave everything outside. And then it's actually surprisingly cold because it's very high up in the mountain, and you have to take your shoes off, so the floor is quite cold.
Yeah.
But you have a bunch of like monks that are reciting stuff, that are having their ceremonies up there. It's a very sacred place, also in Bhutanese history. It's a very, very beautiful place as well.
And also for it being like the main tourist attraction in the country, there were not many people there because Bhutan keeps the tourists out by enforcing this tourist fee tax, whatever. Yeah. So it was still a nice place. It wasn't one of those overcrowded places somewhere in the world. It was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was awesome to talk to the people on the hike up, I would say. Like we met quite a few people, for example, Ted, right?
Yeah. No, so it's true. We met shout out to Ted. It was great.
It was
you
awesome.
Always meet people in Bhutan. It's also just the country. It gives you this vibe of like, oh, let's connect, let's be friends, let's be happy together. It's
exactly
such nice. If you have a hippie trait in you, you should go to Bhutan. Honestly, you're gonna love it. You're just gonna love it.
And it's just one specific kind of person that goes to Bhutan. No, maybe not one, but it's like you're like you belong to a certain group of people that travels a lot, that goes to Bhutan, because no one goes to Bhutan as like their first foreign country. When you go to New York, everyone's there. You know, but Bhutan is also like everyone has I don't want to say similar story, but it's like everyone has at least some travel experience before they go.
Some like shared ideas.
Yeah, something like exactly.
Like you only travel to Bhutan if you're either very interested in that place or if you've genuinely traveled quite a lot.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's very great. It's very great. And then we actually tried on the local Bhutanese outfits.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
I was so close to actually buying one, but it was so big and heavy and also quite expensive. So I was like, nah, I'm good for now. But I think one day if I go back to Bhutan, I will get it. Just to be here in Dubai walking around with my Bhutanese outfit. I think a lot of people would cancel me for like cultural appropriation, but I just love it. It's amazing. It looks so great. I really want one.
I think it's amazing to wear those things. It's like, these people that cancel other people for that, it's like, I don't really take it seriously.
Because I appreciate the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's awesome. I don't think I should.
It is awesome. Yeah, no. And everyone actually wears it. It's not like, we're trying to make fun of the people that, are a little stereotypical, but it's like, no, it's like actually
and it's stunning, honestly.
It is,
guys.
yeah.
You should look it up.
Yeah,
the Bhutanese traditional dresses.
Or just go on our Instagram.
I think they're tied with the Japanese kimono. I really like the kimono dresses as well. But I think other than this, Bhutan and the kimono, they're my favorite like local dresses ever in the world. Very, very beautiful. Yeah, and that pretty much concludes our trip. So we did a very short trip.
It was 2 days, 1 night. Because we were kind of on a budget,
Back then they didn't have the extended like half price.
That is true, yeah.
So it's like $200 per day basically that you spend in the country.
Per night.
Yeah,
That's,
per night.
So we spent 2 days in the country, 1 night. We only spent $200 as a tourist tax.
So
per person.
$600 just in tax for 1 night.
Yes.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Twice as much 2 nights would have been $1,200 in total just for 2 nights of staying in the country. Yeah. That's why we
plus everything that we spent on the tour and
exactly everything. So it's quite an expensive country to visit. Or at least it used to be. Now it's a little bit cheaper, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, now you could do that. You could be there. I think for 2 nights and spend the same that we did. Basically.
Exactly.
From what I understand, I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. But also the longer tours are getting more popular now because, everyone was like, well, I don't want to spend so much for staying for a week, but now it's like, I think it's like 3 nights, 4 nights that you pay the 200 and then you get it extended for another 3 or 4 nights, whatever.
So it's actually more worth it now. But what we did is we left really early in the morning. We came back really late in the evening. Exactly. So we had basically 2 full days in Bhutan. Yeah. And it was a nice quick glimpse of the country.
Yeah.
And more than anything, what it did to me is I really want to go back to the country and explore more.
Yeah.
Like I even have a Facebook friend from Bhutan who lives in some remote village in the east of the country. He's actually a juggler.
Yeah.
And I really want to go there at some point and meet him.
I remember we wanted to go to
I
remember we wanted to go to the east for some reason, and that was it. Yeah, I was like, what was in the east? There was nothing.
Yeah,
nothing
it was
real.
my juggling friend from Bhutan. I really want to go back to that country. The 2 days, it was not enough. It was not enough. I really want to go back.
It was a perfect length for seeing it for the first time, for getting a little glimpse of the country, and now wanting to go back. But it was just a first impression.
We went back to India. Food is great in India.
Yeah, food is
I had
amazing.
An amazing masala dosa. It was amazing. But then after the border, I was like, whoa, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. How does it go?
Back to reality.
Yeah, back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Literally going back into Bhutan, I was like, shit, back to reality. Like, what is this? This mystical kingdom like that? It's like pristine and clear and fresh air and like everything's calm. And like Bhutan, for example, they don't have a single traffic light. They have a human traffic light.
Right.
The whole country doesn't have a traffic light. They have one human in Thimphu that is doing the signs, like he's the human traffic light, literally.
Yeah, and it's the only guy.
What's your job? Oh, I'm the only traffic light in my country. This is Bhutan. It's very, very fascinating. And then, we went back. And for anyone, by the way, that's interested in visiting Bhutan, we've just launched every country tours.
Right.
And we work with the same people that we had to find ourselves, and they're amazing.
Exactly.
I love them.
Yeah. So the tour guides that we were referred to, we loved them. We had a nice trip with them.
And we work with them
and now, we asked them, do you want to work with us? Because we like the trip. And now we offer you the same tours that we did.
Yeah, and lots more as well. If you want to stay there for 2 weeks, you can. It's that's the nice thing about the Bhutan trips. It's very customizable because it is such a free country. It's not like a Syria trip where you can choose between this, and then it's done. But if you have any special requests, you can literally just tell them, and they'll most likely facilitate it because it's not a very restrictive country.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to visit Bhutan, we have the contacts to organize everything. Just drop us a message on WhatsApp. Through every country tours, and then we will organize it for you.
Yeah.
You can do anything from 2 days to 30 days if you want. It's very possible, and we're very happy to have those people on board with us as well.
Really.
But you can also do it yourself. We always say the same. You can also do your own research and find people, but it's very nice to have someone who organizes it for you.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to go through the struggle of like trying to find legit guides and people that are like trustworthy and that you can pay, and so it's a lot of things to take into consideration. And if you want to visit Bhutan, which I think you should, whether you book it through us or whether you book it through anyone, do visit Bhutan. I think it's
absolutely beautiful,
and amazing,
and it's an experience like are there similar experiences somewhere else? I don't think. No,
like
it's
Bhutan.
really unique. Bhutan is amazing.
Even if you've been to Nepal, for example, and you think, okay, surely Bhutan must be similar like to Nepal. Maybe, in some sense, like obviously the nature is great as well and everything, but the culture is just so distinct. If I go to Kathmandu, I think, well, I'm somewhere in northern India, might as well. But Bhutan is like a whole other world. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I really want to go back.
So,
do we have anything else to add for Bhutan?
I don't think so. If you have any more questions, you can just ask us, and we'll take the question for one of the next episodes. But for now, I think you should go to Bhutan.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the bottom line of the episode.
True.
And
it may be a little bit more difficult. It's not like going to Spain, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. Yeah, 100%.
So that's it for the episode.
All right.
And see you in the 7th one soon.
Yep.
Wow.
See you next week.
Greetings from Dubai. Ma salam.